True Grit, 1969, a timeless Western classic that captured hearts with its grit, charm, and unforgettable performances. But have you ever wondered what became of the stars who brought this iconic film to life? Join us as we take a fascinating journey through time to see the cast of True Grit, then and now, in 2025. Some have transformed in surprising ways, while others remain legendary figures etched in Hollywood history. Whether you're a longtime fan or discovering the film for the first time, you won't want to miss this nostalgic look at where the stars are now. John Wayne, who portrayed the grizzled U.S. Marshal Rooster Cogburn in True Grit, was 62 years old in 1969. His commanding performance earned him an Academy Award, but behind the scenes, Wayne's life was marked by turbulence. He married 3 times, Josephine Saenz, Esperanza Bauer, and Pilar Palit, and had 7 children. His relationships were often strained by jealousy, infidelity rumors, and the toll of his career. Wayne battled health issues for years, including heart disease and cancer. He struggled financially toward the end of his life due to costly medical treatments and failed investments in his production company. Despite his tough screen persona, Wayne spent his final years isolated, his mobility impaired, and deeply reflective about lost connections with his children. He passed away on June 11, 1979, from stomach cancer at the age of 72. At the time of his death, his estate was estimated to be around $6 million, though much of it was tied up in taxes and debts. His legacy remains as a symbol of rugged Americana, but his personal life bore the marks of pain, regret, and distance. Glenn Campbell, who portrayed the cocky yet earnest Texas Ranger LaBeouf in True Grit, was 33 years old in 1969. Known primarily for his music career, the film marked one of his few major acting roles. Following the film, Campbell's life spiraled through cycles of fame and downfall. He married 4 times, most notably to Kimberly Woolen, and had 8 children including Cal and Shannon. His life was riddled with addiction to alcohol and cocaine, leading to arrests, public scandals, and time in rehab. His relationships with his children were fractured for years due to his erratic behavior. Though he achieved a career resurgence in the 2000s, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2011. His final years were spent in a care facility, often unable to recognize family members. Despite his declining health, he recorded a farewell album, which touched many fans. Glenn Campbell died on August 8, 2017, at the age of 81. His estate was estimated at $50 million, though legal battles among family members over the will cast a shadow over his final legacy. Kim Darby, who starred as the determined and sharp-witted Maddie Ross, was just 21 years old in 1969. Her role, filled with youthful tenacity and emotional depth, should have launched her into long-term stardom. However, Darby's career quickly declined due to poor management choices and substance abuse. She married 4 times, including a brief union with actor James Stacey, with whom she had 1 daughter named Heather. All her marriages ended in divorce, and her relationship with Heather was often rocky due to Darby's long battles with addiction and mental health issues. Financial instability plagued her during the 1980s and 1990s, leading her to take small television roles and later teach acting to make ends meet. Though she eventually became sober and gained some peace, she lives a reclusive life in modest circumstances, rarely seen in public. Now 77 years old, Kim Darby reflects on a life of lost opportunities and the deep loneliness that came with early fame and personal implosion. Her current net worth is estimated to be under $300,000. Jeremy Slate, who portrayed the outlaw Emmett Quincy, was 43 when he joined the cast of True Grit. With rugged features and a natural charisma, he was often cast in villainous or rebellious roles. Following his role in the film, Slate's acting opportunities dwindled, and he moved toward writing screenplays that never gained traction. His personal life was equally unstable. He married actress Tammy Grimes in the 1960s, but the marriage was short-lived, ending in a contentious divorce. He had no children and lived much of his life alone. Slate faced financial hardship due to failed investments and mounting medical bills in his later years. He suffered from chronic pain, likely related to a motorcycle accident in his youth, and dealt with depression and isolation. Despite these setbacks, he remained active in small theater circles. He passed away on November 19, 2006, at age 80 due to complications from esophageal cancer. His estate was valued at under $100,000, and he was largely forgotten by the time of his death. Robert Duvall, who took on the role of outlaw Ned Pepper, was 38 years old in 1969. His performance, intense and brooding, hinted at the towering career he would later build. But behind his celebrated acting journey was a life fraught with personal instability. Duvall married 4 times, with all his marriages ending in divorce. He had no children, often expressing regret about the emotional distance he kept from relationships. Duvall's obsession with perfection and his short temper alienated colleagues and loved ones alike. Though he found critical success in the decades following True Grit, including an Academy Award, he battled loneliness and grew increasingly reclusive. Now 94, he lives in near isolation on his Virginia estate, occasionally seen but rarely speaking publicly. His estate is estimated at $70 million, accumulated through wise investments and real estate, but he lives modestly, his days filled with silence and old film reels, fragments of a past he never fully came to terms with. Dennis Hopper, who played the deranged and volatile character Moon in True Grit, was 33 years old in 1969. Known for his intense performances and rebellious spirit, Hopper's portrayal brought an unsettling edge to the film. Despite his talent, Hopper's post-True Grit life was a storm of drug addiction, erratic behavior, and professional fallout. He was married 5 times, including to actress Michelle Phillips in a marriage that famously lasted only 8 days. He fathered 4 children, Marin, Ruth Anna, Henry, and Galen, but his relationships with them were often troubled due to his volatile nature and years lost to substance abuse. His career nosedived in the 1970s before a resurgence in the 1980s with roles in Blue Velvet and Hoosiers, yet he remained plagued by inner chaos. Legal battles marred his final years, particularly a bitter divorce from his last wife while he was dying of cancer. Hopper passed away on May 29, 2010, at the age of 74 from prostate cancer. His estate was valued at around $40 million, though much was lost in legal fees and settlements. Alfred Ryder, who portrayed the calculating lawyer Gowdy in True Grit, was 53 years old in 1969. Known for his precise diction and cerebral screen presence, Ryder was a respected character actor whose career began in the 1940s. Despite early success on stage and television, Ryder's career faded after True Grit due to his increasingly eccentric behavior and rumors of untreated mental illness. He was married once, to actress Kim Stanley, but the marriage disintegrated under the weight of jealousy and financial strain. They had 1 daughter, Lori, with whom Ryder had a strained and distant relationship. He withdrew from acting in the 1980s, living alone in a cluttered Los Angeles apartment surrounded by books and relics of his past. Friends reported that he became reclusive and paranoid, frequently writing long letters to studios that no longer remembered him. Ryder died on April 16, 1995, at the age of 79, from undisclosed causes. His estate was negligible, with estimates under $50,000, and he was buried with little fanfare, a forgotten figure from Hollywood's golden age. Strother Martin, who brought comic frustration to the role of Colonel G. Stonehill in True Grit, was 50 years old in 1969. A skilled character actor, Martin was beloved for his portrayals of ineffectual or fussy authority figures. Though well-liked in the industry, his life outside the camera was lonely. He married Helen Meisels Martin, and though they remained together until his death, the marriage was distant and without children. Martin often battled with depression and a deep sense of unfulfillment, feeling overshadowed by more prominent peers. Despite a consistent string of roles, he never reached leading man status and struggled with self-worth. He dealt with chronic health problems exacerbated by heavy smoking and died on August 1, 1980, from a heart attack at age 61. His death shocked colleagues, many of whom didn't realize the extent of his private suffering. Martin's estate was modest, estimated at $250,000, most of which went to his widow. Though remembered fondly by fans, his life behind the scenes was defined by a quiet yearning for recognition he never quite received. Carlos Rivas, who played the rough and menacing outlaw Dirty Bob in True Grit, was 44 years old in 1969. Born to Mexican immigrants, Rivas often found himself typecast in villainous roles due to his ethnicity, a struggle that followed him throughout his acting career. Despite delivering powerful performances, he was denied leading roles and financial security. Rivas married actress Sylvia Vera, but their union was short-lived, strained by his persistent unemployment and bitterness toward Hollywood's racial barriers. They had 2 children, Elena and Victor, but his unstable lifestyle created a rift with both. After True Grit, Rivas faded from the industry, taking small stage roles and teaching drama at a local community college. He suffered from chronic alcoholism, leading to several health complications and alienation from friends. By the 1980s, he was nearly destitute, living in a modest apartment and surviving on Social Security. He passed away on June 16, 2003, at the age of 78, from complications related to liver failure. His estate was estimated to be less than $20,000, a tragic reflection of a career and life full of unrealized potential and silent battles. Elizabeth Harrower, who portrayed Mrs. Ross, Maddie's stern but grieving mother, in True Grit, was 51 years old in 1969. Known more for her work as a television writer than her limited acting roles, Harrower was a deeply intelligent woman with a fierce passion for the arts. She had a brief marriage in the 1940s to stage actor Leland Thornton, which ended in divorce after only 4 years. They had 1 child, Michael, who struggled with drug addiction and was later estranged from her. Elizabeth lived most of her adult life alone, pouring her emotional energy into screenwriting, often channeling her personal pain into scripts that were never produced. She suffered from chronic anxiety and depression and spent much of her later years in seclusion in a small Pasadena apartment. Her death on December 10, 2003, at the age of 85, was attributed to heart failure. She left behind a modest estate estimated at $70,000, mostly in unsold manuscripts and personal memorabilia. Her quiet passing belied the emotional storms that raged throughout her lonely and underappreciated life. Ken Renard, who portrayed the loyal and soft-spoken Yarnell in True Grit, was 63 years old in 1969. A Trinidad-born actor who often played subservient or wise characters, Renard spent most of his career fighting typecasting and industry prejudice. Though known for his dignified presence, his life behind the scenes was marked by disillusionment and loss. He married once, to poet Thelma Mayberry, and they had no children. Their marriage endured but was strained by financial instability and Ken's frequent battles with feelings of inadequacy. After True Grit, roles became scarce, and Renard turned to voiceover work and local theater, often earning barely enough to survive. In his later years, he was reportedly homeless for a period before being taken in by a church community. He died on November 16, 1993, at the age of 87 from natural causes. Renard left behind no significant estate, with his personal belongings donated to charity. His passing was noted only briefly in industry circles, a sad end for a man whose dignity and quiet strength were rarely rewarded in life. John Doucette, who played the gruff and no-nonsense sheriff in True Grit, was 52 years old in 1969. Known for his deep voice and rugged appearance, Doucette carved out a steady, if uncelebrated, career playing lawmen and villains. Despite appearing in over 280 roles in film and television, he rarely received top billing or financial security. He married Catherine Sambles in the 1940s, and they had 8 children together. While devoted to his family, the constant strain of supporting them on modest acting wages led to stress and frequent relocations. Doucette battled with chronic back pain from a car accident in the 1950s and later developed diabetes. His later years were marked by obscurity and financial struggle, leading him to take work as a voice actor and narrator to make ends meet. He died on August 16, 1994, at the age of 73 from cancer. At the time of his death, his estate was estimated at only $90,000. Though remembered warmly by peers for his professionalism, he died largely forgotten by the public, his contributions to cinema buried under decades of overlooked performances. John Fiedler, who portrayed the timid but dutiful lawyer Daggett in True Grit, was 44 years old in 1969. Known for his distinctive, high-pitched voice and unassuming presence, Fiedler became a beloved character actor, most famously voicing Piglet in Disney's Winnie the Pooh series. Despite his cheerful voice work, Fiedler struggled with deep personal loneliness. He never married and had no children, admitting in interviews that he feared emotional vulnerability and was too focused on work to maintain lasting relationships. He lived in a small Manhattan apartment, surrounded by books and scripts, preferring solitude over social gatherings. Though successful in his craft, he was haunted by feelings of insignificance and faded into semi-retirement in the 1990s. He passed away on June 25, 2005, at the age of 80 from cancer, just 2 days after the death of fellow voice actor Paul Winchell. Fiedler left behind an estate worth approximately $1 million, accumulated through decades of voice work, though he had no immediate family to inherit it. His death marked the end of a life that brought joy to others, while he quietly carried his own sorrow. Who is your favorite character from True Grit? How does it feel knowing that some of the actors are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future uploads. Thank you for your support.